Hello, this is Dr. Chidambar Patil, Associate Professor in English, CCAB ARS Inamdar, Arts, Science and Commerce College, and Peaches Center for Women, Vijaypur. Today I am going to speak on the making of Ramayana by Valmiki. The making of Ramayana by Valmiki is taken from the Ramayana Balakanda Sarga 2, translation based on the critical edition of Oriental Institute, Baroda by Robert P. Goldman. The epic Ramayana traditionally ascribed to Maharishi Valmiki, who narrates the life of Rama born in Ayodhya. It follows his 14 years of exile to the forest by his father King Dasharatha on the request of his stepmother Kaikeyi. His travels across forest in India with his wife Sita and brother Lakshmana, the kidnapping of his wife by Ravana, the great king of Lanka, resulting in war with him, and Rama's eventual return to Ayodhya to be crowned king. This is the conclusion point of the epic. Ramayana is the most sacred book and is read by millions of people every year. It is one of the largest epics in the world, consists of nearly 24,000 shlokas, means verses, divided into 6 kandas. Kandas means cantos. The Balakanda, the Ayodhya Kanda, the Aryanka Kanda, the Kishkinda Kanda, the Sundar Kanda, and the Lanka Kanda, and about 500 sargas, which means chapters. When Devamuni Narada visited the ashram of Maharishi Valmiki, Maharishi inquired to him about the most ideal man on earth if he knew someone who is currently alive and has all the 16 virtuous qualities that a man can possess, like truthfulness, bravery, self-competence, knowledgeable, and being loved by all. Devamuni Narada told Maharishi Valmiki of Sri Rama, son of Dasharatha, who was born in the lineage of King Ikshvaku. Narada then briefly narrated the story of Rama, his characteristics, his qualities, and then described at the end what exactly Ramaraja is. After this narration, Narada was worshipped by Maharishi Valmiki and his disciples in a befitting manner, after which Narada sought leave and went to heaven. Later, Maharishi Valmiki, along with his disciples, Bharadwaja, an ever-obedient disciple to his spiritual master, went to the bank of Tamasa river for his morning ablutions. He was pleased with the scenic beauty of nature, then received his pitcher and bark garments from Bharadwaja to take his bath. At the same time, Valmiki saw a pair of melodious crouch birds that seemed to be joyful, flying about in each other's inseparable company in its surrounding areas. Valmiki was very much pleased by this surrounding beauty of nature. To his great shock, Valmiki suddenly found a hunter who killed one of the birds which enraged him. In other words, a sinful and cruel-hearted hunter struck down the male bird of the pair in his very presence. Valmiki in rage expressed, "O fowler, since you have killed one of the pair of infatuated craunches, you will be permanently deprived of your position." But at the same time, a bit amazed, astonished, surprised, Valmiki pondered over his lines and reflected, "What is this that I uttered in reaction to the grief of this bird?" Then he spoke to his disciples. Occasioned by the grief-stricken state of the bird, and composed in rhymed lines, verse, each of equal number of syllables, turned to the accompaniment of stringed instruments, and said, "Let it be known as Shloka, and not by any other name," said Maharishi Valmiki. So that grief of the bird was an inspiration to Valmiki to compose the verse, and it is said this is the first shloka composed in Sanskrit by Valmiki. Valmiki is known as the Adi Kavi. After performing his ablutions, Valmiki returned to his hermitage, accompanied by Bharadwaja, his disciple. Then he sat down and composed other stories. At that moment, Lord Brahma appeared, and Maharishi Valmiki was pleased to see him. He worshipped Brahma by bowing down his feet and washing them, what we generally in India call it as Pada Puja. Lord Brahma, after taking his auspicious seat, gestured Maharishi Valmiki to take his seat. But Maharishi Valmiki could not forget the incident in which a sinless bird was killed for no fault of its own. He was lost in pondering and introspection. He recited the shloka that he had uttered, and we find that Lord Brahma was very much pleased and said, "You have indeed composed a shloka, there is no doubt about it." And further said, "O Brahmarshi, at my will, this speech has originated from you. Most excellent ascetic, compose the history of Rama in its entirety." And then said, "Narrate the history of Rama, who is renowned for righteousness, virtues, wisdom, and steadfastness in the manner you have heard it from sage Narada." The incidents pertaining to Rama, Lakshmana, Sita, Bharata, etc., and the Rakshasas and their deeds, thoughts, unknown or known to everybody, or even not known to you, will be revealed to you by my grace. Further, Lord Brahma said, "Not even a single word of yours in this epic will ever prove untruthful. Compose this sacred, delightful story of Rama, set in the form of shlokas you have created, and asserted that as long as the mountains and rivers exist on this earth, the story of Ramayana will prevail among the people. So long as the story of Ramayana composed by you is remembered in this world, you will live in the upper world, the nether world, and Brahmaloka." Thus speaking, Brahma disappeared. Maharishi Valmiki and his disciples were pleased and recited the shloka again and again. Then Maharishi Valmiki thought of composing the Ramayana. He fell into a meditative trance and saw for himself the life and adventures of Rama and Sita. He had the power, the ability, the spiritual power of looking into past and present. He composed the story of Rama and Sita in verse and then taught it to his disciple as shown here. We also have a picture where we see the final battle between Rama and Ravana. The story of Rama and the killing of Ravana, composed by Maharishi Valmiki, consists of compound words, melodious sandhis, and lines composed in lucid, melodious, and meaningful phrases. In all, we can say the gist of Ramayana is imbibed in the first chapter of Balakanda, and it is called as Sankshepa Ramayana or Bala Ramayana. Ramayana has been read all over the world. Different countries have come out with mask dance on Ramayana. So this is one example of intangible heritage without borders. A mask dance was organized about Ramayana in Bangkok, sponsored by UNESCO. Thank you. Please press the button like. The channel is free. Subscribe it.